my favorite exercises to warm up with. Now I'll warm up legato. Sure. Give me a key. What key are you studying? Yeah. What's up, man? It really depends on, I mean, I guess my question for you, T, is, how well do you know theory, and how well do you know your scales? You know, because, I mean, I can show you this stuff all day, but for me, I'm relying on fretboard knowledge. So the reason why I was asking you which key is because, that just helps kind of steer the boat, if that makes sense. But what I would really recommend you do is just stay in one key. Like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm just going to type in, let's just say you're only studying C major. So I'm going to say C major backing track. I have no idea what's going to come up. And let's do this one. Rock backing track, C major, 70 BPM. This is completely random. I have no idea what this is. Alright. So I see the chords. Pretty straightforward progression. I know this key. Look, it's C major. So first thing I'm gonna do is this. I'm not playing just requests, homie. I was asked a question. So when I'm thinking about that, I mean, step one is just knowing your fretboard. You know, all the more complicated stuff will come over time. But if you're just getting started at improv, first thing to know is just to know where those notes live and know what notes are in the key. So in this case, I was using C major, which is also A minor. So you could just stay in this pentatonic lane. You know? But that's really limiting. And sometimes that's good for creativity. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, if I'm writing a song, lately my songs have been more of like exercise. It's like, okay, I'm gonna write something in Dorian. Okay, well that's a different, you know, the way I'm gonna sell Dorian is different than if I'm just gonna write, you know, whatever. But it all comes from knowing my fretboard and knowing a little bit of theory to piece things together. So, yeah, that's kind of like step one. And then the other thing I would do if you're trying to learn how to improvise is learn a lot of vocal melodies. Vocal melodies for me have really opened up my melodic playing because it's really about phrasing, right? Like if I'm really sitting down and I'm writing a melody to a song, I'm writing kind of how a vocalist like would sing lyrics, or that's at least what my intention is. But yeah, well, the pentatonic works because it takes out the iffy notes. You know, like you're gonna take out. You really need to know what a pentatonic is. Like you're not gonna play the fourth and you're not gonna play the seventh. But understanding why you don't play a B and an F in C major is useful because there are cases where you might want to play the B. Like for example, this chord progression is C, G, A minor to F. In the G, you have a B. It's the third, so it works. You could definitely play it there. But playing a B on top of like a C major that doesn't have a seventh, it could work. Depends on the context. And that's kind of like the second part I was going to get into is, you can either play by feel and use your ear and navigate around chord changes, or if you want to think your way through it, you just really need to know like what goes into the chord and understanding intervals. But I would just say, like, if you're getting into improv, I probably wouldn't like push you immediately out the gate of thinking in intervals and thinking in chord intervals, but just know that that's going to be on your horizon. I hope this is helping, Memphis. You really only know the pentatonic? Okay, so I mean, again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, and enough people come on here asking this question, so I think that's gonna be the second course I produce. This is kind of like a lot of validation. So if you like the way I teach, I'll probably have a course out by the end of the month if I had to guess. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing, man. I'm really gonna push you to know a little bit of theory. Nothing too crazy. Just know what the major scale is and know how it's made and know how to build chords with it. Because it's going to make all this a lot easier. And, when I used to teach Guitar Players 101 guitar lessons, now I kind of do more music production lessons than straight guitar lessons. But there's a similar overlap of, like, guitar players think that to memorize the fretboard, I have to learn 12 or 24 times 6 notes. And if you go about learning the fretboard like that, you're going to be overwhelmed. So here's what I would recommend you do instead. Instead of focusing on 12 or 24 times 6, remember that the top 2 strings repeat. So that instantly we drop that down by 5, or 2, 5. And from the nut to the 12th is the same as the 12th to the 24th. So we're also going to drop that note. So now we got 5 by 12 instead of 6 by 24. But I'm going to take it a step further. If you only study one scale, which one scale only has 7 notes on it, that's 7 times 5. That's 35 notes that you have to memorize. And you're going to memorize them until they just become muscle memory. Like, I would need to work with you and get you to a place where I'm like, all right, play C. And you're like, oh, which one? And that comes with time. But sitting down and dedicating, like, here, I'll show you an exercise I did for a long time. I'm going to pull up my metronome app, and I'm going to set my tempo really slow. We'll do 60 BPM. Every time it clicks, you find C on the next string. So I would do something like... Then you do the next note, like D. And really just doing that consistently will open you up. But before you start really that, like if that right there is already a little overwhelming, then back it up and just learn your scale degrees on one string at a time. So I would start with the A string, then D string, and kind of work my way from there. Does that make sense, Memphis? Does that help you at least? Then it's just a matter of, it's kind of like a cake, man. Like, you're going to have a bunch of layers to this stuff. There's no one pill of like, yeah, just do this and then you'll be able to improvise outside of like just playing, Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and because that methodology, like, learning how to learn is the most important thing that you're probably going to learn here. And that's called active recall. Active recall basically reinforces your learning. So I would do that as like a warm-up routine, you know, of like where's the until you just know your fretboard. And then like, you know, one thing, like kind of like the next step is once you get that is learning how to spell out chords. So like, for example, if the first chord is C, I would say like part 2 of this would know that the arpeggio for C is like 1, 3, 5, C, E, G. Because then that'll allow you, like, if someone's doing this, you can do like. You know, and I'm totally just making up something arbitrary. But I don't know, man. That's how I think of it. I hope that helps. Everybody learns differently, so that's what worked for me. The most important, stop, Boston. The most important thing is just to experiment and see what works for you, man. Seriously. But that's how I did it. And I'm always getting better. Like, I don't want you to think that I think that I'm shit hot and that I've just made it. I just actively think about this stuff and trying to get better, especially because, you know, I mostly write songs and record songs. So I think about this a lot because after a while, one thing you'll notice too is that, like, if you stop learning, everything you play sounds the same. So I noticed that, like, times where I feel like I'm grabbing for the same bag of tricks, I'm like, okay, I've got to put this bag of tricks down and go search for another bag, if that makes sense. And then once I start writing in a way, like right now I'm studying a lot of math rock. That's what I'm about to start practicing here in a second. A lot of the approaches to arpeggios in math rock, and specifically this band called Chan. This is a band that I study a lot just because I think, like, the way that they compose music, for me, it feels like someone took a classical arrangement and mapped it out for the guitar. And I like to do, like, I like to use traditional compositional techniques, but I've never really approached it to guitar, if that makes sense. Most of the time I'll write for, like, an orchestra. So again, that's like me actively seeking out a specific bag of tricks that I'm like, okay, that's kind of how I want to grow as a songwriter when I'm writing for guitar music. Now I'm going to go learn that style in great detail. And I've done that with every style. Like when I was playing with country guys, you know, I'm by no means like a master of the country style, but I spent a lot of time studying guys in the country genre until I became fluent enough where I could sell myself that, like, yeah, I can hang in a country group. You know. But anyways, man, hope that helps. Yeah, I'm gonna get into my practice now. Hell yeah, man. That's a good goal. It's good that you have vision. How's I go? You know, all that is that's all pentatonic, like a little bit of blues. You know, he's just walking up from an A to a D. that's good stuff. I studied a lot of like 2 years ago. I was in a '70s like prog rock band. We played Zeppelin. We played Deep Purple. Played Rush. How's that shit go? Hold on. Yeah, that's about the only chilies I know. But I'm ordering some Chan, bro. What's up? This is Chan. Rosewood is the name of the song. That solo is what gets me, man. Where's it at? Does it repeat back? Dun 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 dun. Yeah, that's the thing that makes this so hard is that it's a lot of hybrid picking, so you have to use like, you know, you got to use all your fingers, and he's doing. I mean, really, when you study it, it's just a E major 7 arpeggio, but the way that he's voicing it. All right, what did you say about Kirk Hammett? I don't know what you mean. No. I mean, that's guitar in a nutshell, man. It's all got to be fun. Like, I find this stuff really fun because it's very like I don't know. I'm just at a place where like I like stuff that's challenging technically because it pushes me to become like a better guitar player. And I don't know. I strive to be like a technical player. I guess like in some instances I'm kind of there, but not where I want to be, if that makes sense. But I'm on the path. I will say though, I've been taking a lot of piano lessons, and piano is changing the way that I approach guitar, because piano is like so linear. There's not like a lot of tricks you can do with it. Whereas on guitar, it kind of like helps me lean into stuff like. It's kind of like the modulation wheel on the piano. Doesn't that sound cool? Those chord changes? That's one I've been messing around with. Doing a lot of extended voices. One secret chord is this drop voice chord. What pedals? This is I use the Tonemaster Pro. I'm all virtual. We're all digital. But this is I'm just using a Boss compressor, a little bit of slapback delay, and then I'm running 2 amps. I'm using a Princeton and a Vox amp. It sounds good. Then my guitar of choice today is this Eric from Chon guitar. It's one of the coolest guitars I've ever owned. Has a Telecaster neck pickup and a really cool Alico 5 bridge pickup. So for me, it covers my sonic palette. And I've got coil tap on this. So if I want to just rock 2 humbuckers, yeah, I do. No, I'm playing this one right now, homie. Alright, let me pull up Bubbly. Where is this at? Or Bubble Dream. Isn't Nickelback a Christian rock band? Yeah, it's Chon. I mean, it is Nickelback. You got it right the first time. Don't overcomplicate it. Just study what's called diatonic theory for a while, Christian. Diatonic theory is like just study your major scale. So I was kind of talking about this earlier, but I guess my first question to you is: do you know your fretboard? Do you know if I played the 8th note on the B string, do you know that that's a G? If I play on the 10th fret, do you know that that's an A, and so on and so forth? If not, I would learn that, and then I'll kind of give you a roadmap. And I'm gonna make a course on this. That you're like the 4th person in like the last like 96 hours to come on and ask about it. So yeah, and this would just be what I'll talk about. But I would focus on just the major scale, and I would write it out honestly, and learn how to build chords. Because if you can learn how to build chords, those are called arpeggios. Arpeggios really open up a lot of doors, and they're in so many different places. You know, I think like this is one of the things that probably makes guitar the hardest instrument to learn. It's just by how much variation. Like, for example, if I want to play a C major on a piano, there's only like one spot I can play it. But on guitar, I can say, you know, all of that is C major. That's one chord, you know. I think I even missed one. What, it would be this one? That's a ton. Well, hold on, let me see. Love your style. Hope you post this in your video. Hell yeah, man. I'll see you, homie. Always. But I would start with just C major. Understand the scale up and down. Understand the chords that go into C major. Understand that you have like C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, E minor 7 flat 5, back to C. And then do that in different positions. Like if you can learn where these chords are. And then like also learning different voicings. So you can do like this has no fifth versus this has a fifth. But hopefully that helps. Let me see, gotcha. There's a bunch of ads out there. I can't remember who, but it's classic chord progressions that are in different voicings. Well, this oh, thanks man, I appreciate you. This, what I was just showing you, is just called the cage system. So cage, I've got a video out on this too, by the way. There's a whole playlist that I have of diatonic theory. But for example, oh shit, I gotta get going soon, I have an appointment. But cage, at a high level, you take the chord C, the chords A, G, E, and D. And what you'll realize is that those are movable shapes. So what I mean by that is if we take C, I'm actually going to do this voicing. I'm just changing up my hand, and I want you to imagine my pointer finger being on the 0 fret. If I move this up, I now have C major, or C sharp major, D major, D sharp major, E, G, F. So, and you start piecing those together, like, okay, G, I'd probably do G like this. Then what you realize is, oh yeah, I can just move this. So when I'm showing you all these shapes, this is C in the C shape, this is C in the A shape, because the A is here, B flat, B, C. Then we have, this is the E shape, taking this E, moving it up. Then we have C in the G shape. Then the last one you need to know, well, I guess this is another one here. What would this be? I don't know, I just know this shape. Kind of like I guess an F. F shape. And then the last one, the D shape. So it's all about taking those chords that you know and getting more juice out of them, if that makes sense. What's up, Nas? Guitar question. I have a lot of trouble with chord changing. Yeah, then for moving chords, and I saw your question, that's such a hard answer or a hard thing to say. I would just listen to whatever you listen to on the radio, try to learn it. Yeah, and for changing chords, what I would recommend you do is fret the chord shape. So like your G, all right, look at it. Visually, like take a mental snapshot of it, like take a picture of it, all right? Then what I want you to do is I want you to take your hand off your guitar, close your eyes, and see that chord shape. And then without looking at your guitar, make it. So 2 actions. One, we're here. we're visualizing, we're executing. Because what you're working on is dexterity. And I just think that if your brain can see your hand doing it, it's easier to do, if that makes sense. Like, for example, lately I've been pushing my skills and learning really fast hard rock stuff. So, old me used to say, I can't play that. I can't do that at all. I can't move that fast. Then I start watching them do it. Then I start visualizing me doing it. And then I slowly build up the practice of, well, there's a lot more to it than just visualization for that, but the process is the same nonetheless. It's a matter of like seeing myself doing it, practicing it slow. So once you visualize doing a G and you get G, then I would do the same thing for a D and do D. And then I think you said E minor, which is pretty much like every pop song. Then the next thing you need to do is pull up a metronome. Every time it clicks, you change a chord. We'll do 4. I think this is lagging a little. But it's all the same no matter what, Then speed it up. Do every 2 beats. Then do every 1. And it's just a game of like building blocks. The problem is that most guitar players say they want to be here, they don't realize they're down here, and they want to just like cheat and get up here. And I haven't found cheat codes of being able to get there's no cheat codes, it's just practice, that's all it is. But y'all, I gotta get off here, I gotta eat, I've got a doctor's appointment coming up. But I hope that helps. I appreciate all the good questions. And this video will be in the archive, so if you want to go back and rewatch any part of it of what I said later on when you're practicing, it'll be there for you. But hey, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. It's good seeing you, Nos. Oh.